which is absolutely an amazing process. If you've never seen it, there's a YouTube video called it's called The Amazing Life Cycle of a Monarch Butterfly. It's about 5 minutes, and if you haven't seen it, take 5 minutes and watch it. It's truly amazing, and to see it in person really is. So if there any caller or anybody watching there and would like help in trying to raise monarch butterflies, my email is linda@lindapainter.com. You can email me, and I'd be more than willing to try to help you set it up. As far as from the Forest Preserve goes, we have a couple things coming up that I will make sure that you all know about it. We want public input. We have a master plan in the process for Waterfall Glen, and I'm sure that many of you have visited Waterfall Glen, and if you want your opinion known about any kind of upgrades or changes relating to Waterfall Glen, we're certainly going to be looking for that. As soon as the survey comes out, I'll be happy to let you know that you can pass it around and put it on your website and things like that. And then also, we're also going to be looking for input. We own Willowbrook Wildlife in Glen Ellen, and I'm sure if you lived around here for years and years, and as a kid you brought any kind of injured animals, wildlife, to Willowbrook Wildlife. And we're going to be doing a huge expansion program there, and we're going to be getting public input for that also. And so when that comes out, I will be happy to let you know that too. Thank you, and thanks for saving the monarchs.
Hey, Linda, question.
Linda?
Linda, quick question. Prior to the formal meeting starting, there was a question about mosquito abatement programs, how they might affect the monarch butterfly population. We don't spray in town. We treat catch basins. Is there somebody on your staff that could help us answer that question?
Certainly, I can get back to you. But we do in the Forest Preserve, we do the same thing. You don't.
Okay.
The mosquito spraying does affect the monarchs, and we do the same thing. They monitor where all the larvae are.
Yeah, okay. If you could send, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Linda, I have a question for you for a change. In regards to animals, every once in a while, once a month or so, we get injured animals that people report, whether it's raccoons, birds, ducks, so on and so forth. What is the best way for us to handle that, as residents and or public works?
Well, for starters, make a phone call to Willowbrook Wildlife, and they'll ask you questions about what type of animal it is, where did it come from. Generally speaking, birds that fall out of their nest, if you can pick them up and put them back in their nest, that's the best thing, because the mother will take the best care of the animal. Certainly, it's going to be fawning season, so there's baby fawns going to be coming out. They are very interesting. The mothers will leave them for like 6 hours at a time. And those, if you see a little tiny baby fawn, unless it's running down the street or in the middle of some, real dangerous place, leave them alone. The mother is watching. It's amazing that they just, most of the time you leave them alone. But if they're injured, then that's when you want to take them over to Willowbrook Wildlife.
Linda, maybe you can send us some of this information, and we could put it out in our Direct Connect just as an advisory for people.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I had a call from a resident. They had a dead raccoon. and then the question is, I talked to Dan, what do they do now with this dead raccoon?
Wrap it up in a plastic bag and put it in the garbage. Or bury it. I was told once to do that to a dead deer in my yard, bury it, in January. That was going to happen. That's what the health department told me, honest. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to approval of minutes. I'd like a motion to approve the May 3rd, 2021 minutes. Motion by Alderman Vaughn, seconded by Alderman Belzak. Any questions or comments regarding the minutes? If none, the roll.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Clistic.
Abstain.
Gustafson.
Aye.
I have 5 ayes, 1 abstention, and 1 absent.
The minutes have been approved. Takes us to receiving of communications. Do any of the aldermen have communications they'd like to share? If none, I would like to share a communication. Actually, it's not a communication. Saturday, Kathy and I were invited to attend the gala fundraising event at Kingswood Academy here in Darien. It was a beautiful event. I've attended these before at the Bobeck 7 signature room. This time it was held about how when we take care of other people, God takes good care of us. And I related that story and also shared what we would be doing for the child whose parents bid. After I made my speech, and I did tell them that whatever child was selected, they'd probably run city council much better than I would, so they all found that kind of comical. But Tammy Karami started the bidding, and the bidding went up to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 to 2,500, and eventually it hit $3,500. And so this couple bid $3,500 to do mayor for the day. And I went and met this family and thanked them. And in the process, I had another family come up to me and tell me that they would be willing to match that $3,500 if I would do a second mayor for the day. And I agreed, and I met with them and got their information. Well, before the evening was over, I had 4 parents who each paid $3,500 to have me do a mayor for the day. Wow. We raised $14,000. Now I only spent $11,000 to get elected mayor, and people are paying $14,000 to have a child sit in this chair. And I was informed by Tammy that $14,000 was the largest amount of money they have ever made in a live auction. So Kathy and I were really very happy with that. Now, just to let you know what I promised them, I told them I would like to have the child come in with the parent, one of their parents, like in the later afternoon. And what I'd like to do is have Chief Thomas organize a tour of the police department, and possibly have Sergeant Squares bring a police car over and have the child see what the inside of a police car looks like, and maybe even take a ride. I also would like to have them possibly visit Public Works and see that facility over there.
Not the facility, just the trucks.
Yeah, the trucks, not the facility.
Fine facility.
And then that evening, they would attend City Council, and I would ask Clerk Regona to swear them in as mayor for the evening. They would sit in this chair, and they would run the meeting with some direction from yours truly. At the end of the evening, they would have, we'd have a framed certificate for them saying they had been mayor for a day, and I would invite them to walk with me in the 4th of July parade this summer. So that's what I've promised. And like I said, there were 4 families that were willing, and I think we could have got a 5th, but I kind of got lost, so people couldn't find me. It was a wonderful evening. We have a teacher who was here tonight, and I forget your name.
Laura Christensen.
Yeah, and Laura's been teaching there for a while. And Lauren is very much an environmentalist, a conservation person. And when I shared with her what we were going to do tonight for the Monarch Butterfly Program, she wanted to attend, and I told her, please do attend and be a part of the discussion. There's a lot of wonderful people over there. Kathy and I made some friends over there that I think we'll have for a long time. And it really is a great school, and I'm very proud of the efforts the people made. And I really feel good to know that by allowing a child to come in and experience government for a day, that we were able to raise $14,000 for the school. So that's my story that I wanted to share with all of you. Mary?
That's great. That's having done a lot of charity events and auctions and stuff. Good for you. like you said, it was probably best that you disappeared or did a Murphy's Duck because you might have had 6 or 7. You'd have the rest of the year tied up. So good for
it's
you.
Funny. Kathy and I got our food was free, our drinks were free, and I always feel a little guilty. But when I raised $14,000, I didn't feel guilty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're going to hold you to that every year, though.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be an annual thing. I think we all received communication, but I wanted to highlight that the Darien Chamber of Commerce and the Hinsdale South High School Foundation are partnering to do a charity golf outing this Friday, May 21st at Carriage Greens. It starts at 3 o'clock with the shotgun start. They're still taking donations. They're still taking sponsorships and also people who want to register to golf. So you can visit www.darienchamber.com to sign up for this event. It's a great.
Whereas municipalities across the state of Illinois provide essential services to their residents that include public safety, support, transportation, and storm wastewater infrastructure, and community health services, along with many others. And whereas the state of Illinois has maintained a long-held agreement with municipalities to support and invest in these local services through the Local Government Distributed Fund, or commonly known as LGDF, which includes the collection and distribution of tax revenues on behalf of municipalities. And whereas since the state income tax was adopted in 1969, state government has shared a percentage of total income tax collections through LGDF with municipalities on a per capita basis in lieu of a local income tax. And whereas these shared revenues have been significantly reduced by the state since 2011 from 10% to now 6.06%, and whereas municipalities depend on LGDF dollars, which can account between 10 and 20% of a municipality's operating budget, to lessen the burden on taxpayers and reduce the reliance on property taxes. And whereas Governor J.B. Pritzker has proposed that the fiscal year 2022 state budget include a further 10% reduction in the amount of LGDF revenue distributed to local governments, and whereas this revenue reduction has been proposed at a time when municipalities are continuing to spend additional funds on the COVID-19 emergency response. And whereas in addition to LGDF cuts over the years, the state has also reduced municipalities' share of the personal property replacement tax and increased sales tax collection fees, while cities and villages have had to fund skyrocketing pension costs, which account for a substantial budget increases each year. And whereas those municipalities with fewer revenue sources, such as retail business, with higher equalized assessed property values on property, suffer the most and will be forced to explore increasing property taxes or cutting services and further LGDF reductions. Now therefore be it resolved and $76 in LGDF dollars, that if LGDF was cut by another 10%, the city of Darien would lose $239,000. And basically, so people get a better understanding, this is your money that we collect, that we send to Springfield, and Springfield doesn't send it all back. And in effect, to pay for police services and infrastructure improvement, you're getting taxed twice because the municipality still has to pay for those services. And right now, LGDF comprises 14% of Darien's budget, just to let you know a few figures on that. Any discussion? And the vote.
Kenny?
Aye.
Sullivan?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Belzak?
Aye.
Project as an associate member. And whereas the Indian Prairie Public Library offers hands-on pollinator programs in its Prairie Patch Community Garden and hosts community programs about monarchs and pollinators. And whereas the Darien Park District has established habitat for pollinators and butterflies at Chestnut Park, Birchwood Park, South Road Playground, and the Darien Community Center, providing milkweed for monarchs to lay eggs, leaves for caterpillars to eat and grow, and nectar for the long journey south. And whereas the city of Darien is adjacent to Waterfall Glen, a 2,503 acre preserve with open land and natural areas which are part of the local network of resting and feeding sites for migrating monarchs. And whereas many of the 4,000 species of native U.S. bees providing critical pollination services to pollinating to food, ornamental, and wildflower species have experienced significant decline, and whereas Illinois designated the monarch butterfly as the official state insect in 1975, and as a result of lobbying by Illinois school children, and whereas scientific studies point to the rapid decline of the monarch butterfly due to the loss of milkweed habitat needed to lay their eggs and for their caterpillars to eat, resulting from development land management practices and chemically aided agriculture in the United States and Canada. And whereas the population of eastern monarch butterflies declined by 26% in 2020, whereas because the decimation of pollinators, including the North American monarch, which serves as an iconic species, has potential negative consequences for natural eco-conservation plan, calling for